Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Wednesdays. So, this is another time or another platform for us to understand leadership just a little bit. And we have begun on a new series called Leadership Integrity. And that is what I want to do today. I want us to to continue with that. But even as we begin, there's always a quote we say, all things rise and fall on leadership. And I want to repeat that again because it's one of the things that we really have to understand and believe. It's a philosophy. All things rise and fall on leadership. Nations rise and fall on leadership. Families rise and fall on leadership. Organizations rise and fall on leadership. And so it's important to understand that concept, to know that your organization is as successful as the leader who is there. Your country is as successful as the leaders who are there. If it's a democratic country, then successive governments have determined where the current government is at and what they can work with. So, leadership integrity. So, today we are looking at the core elements of leadership integrity. Remember, last week we introduced this topic. Today we are looking at the core elements. So, what are these elements? How do they come out in leadership? And so, the first element of that is core in terms of leadership integrity is honesty. Honesty, this is a very easy word. It's a word that many people can use. And they say, oh, be honest about it, talk about it. But this is one thing that we are also lacking in our country and in almost every level of leadership. Now, I know that there are leaders, some of them who are very, very honest. But I also think the majority of the leaders in the world today and the majority of leaders in my country of Kenya are not honest. Political leaders are not honest. And I think this is one of the main things that we must begin to cultivate. So what does it mean, or what do we say under the point of honesty, where we need to be honest with everything we do? So we have to be truthful in all interactions. We have to be truthful in all interactions. Don't do things and don't say things in an untruthful manner. Just come out open and say what needs to be said. And sometimes some leaders think that hiding the truth is a better option. But the truth is this: many times you may hide the truth, but eventually truth always comes out. You cannot govern people through lies. You cannot govern people through intimidation. You have to come out and speak the truth. Honesty. Okay, then you have to have transparency in decision making. Some of the things that we experience in our country today and in many countries is that there is no transparency about anything. There is no transparency about some of the things, that the contracts that we give out as a country. There is no transparency in churches. There is no transparency at home. And this is a major problem. But if you want to walk and if you want to be a leader of integrity, you've got to be honest and you've got to be truthful and also be transparent. Okay. The second element, or the second core element, is accountability. Okay. This is where the leader is accountable. And this is one of the things that has been a major problem in Africa today, where leaders don't they don't have accountability. So they don't take responsibility for their actions and decisions. And you see, for example, in the previous government, I'm going to use examples with government today, and maybe some church and some organizations here and there, some corporates. But so taking responsibility for one's actions and decisions. And I remember when this government came to power in our country, we were told that the previous government had left the accounts empty. And the question I have is, why didn't you make that other government take responsibility and speak and say where the money is, or where the accounts are? So taking responsibility, this is not an easy thing for any leader, but all the leaders of integrity are willing to be accountable. They are willing to take responsibility and for their actions and for their decisions. They are willing to admit to making mistakes and to learning from them. And this is, one of the things I've noticed is that if you're a leader and you make mistakes, people will actually listen to you, and they are more willing. There are more people who are willing to actually give you another chance if you just admit we had mistakes and we're going to fix them, and you start fixing them. There are more people willing to make you, to forgive you, to give you another chance if you just show that side of your humanity. The problem we have is that we have so many leaders who are not willing to admit that they have made mistakes. It's almost as if you want to be this perfect leader, but it's impossible for any one of us to be a perfect person. The third core element is consistency. Consistency, the third element on leadership, the core element on leadership integrity. This, you have to be consistent in the things that you do. You must ensure that actions align with the values and principles that you have stated. So when you say that you are against corruption, then you've got to be on the front line of fighting corruption. You don't just say it. If you say that people must keep time, then you've got to lead by example. Become a consistent leader and maintain steady behavior in varying situations. Don't allow yourself to shift, and don't allow the storms of the day or the storms of the time to shake you up. Because then when you behave differently under different circumstances, then people will see through you. And I have many examples that I can use with that, because, for example, in my country, I don't think that the president was right to speak on the day that parliament was banned. He felt maybe that he needed to speak, but that was a bad move, because he was still angry. He was still fuming because of that. And I understand his anger. I understand his frustration, but that was not the time for the country to see his anger. So he redeemed himself the following day, but he should have waited. And you see, these are lessons that we learn as we go along. We don't expect everyone to know what to do in what particular time, but at least we must remain as leaders. We must try our best to remain steady in varying situations. And the last core element is fairness. There's got to be fairness all across in your leadership. So treat all people, all members equally and justly. Now, this is for the church. Stop treating people who have money as if they are more important than those who don't have money. And this is a major problem with many religious organizations, whether it's a mosque, a temple, or a church. Begin to treat people, because that is what is expected of us. Same thing with government leaders. Treat people equally. Same thing with corporate leaders. Treat them all and avoid favorism and bias, because then this shows you or portrays you as a leader who lacks integrity. So these are the 4 core elements. I am sure there are more elements that you can search for yourself and even go on and understand it. But these are the 4 that I'm going to give on leadership integrity. And always remember and never forget that all things rise and fall on leadership. God bless you.